Hey guys, my name is Amber, and I am going to be reviewing the spending tracker, which is tool number 1 on module 4. So we're doing something similar to this and that in the actual course, so this should be fairly familiar to you. The spending tracker is self-explanatory. You're just keeping track of your spending for a designated amount of time. This is important mostly because most people don't know actually what they're spending their money on. And before you can be intentional about your goals and how you're using your money, you need to know exactly what you're doing with it. So this is going to be a very simple and easy way. Theoretically, it takes a lot of time and commitment. That's kind of like the biggest drawback, is just kind of the sticking with it and being very diligent that you're recording every single transaction. So this can be done for a different lengths of time. You can do it for just a single week, 2 weeks, but really the recommended time is a month to get a full view of like your billing cycles and your actual bills and your income to be included in that to be able to analyze it more efficiently. So what you're going to do is it's recommended to kind of get a plastic case or some envelopes. And what you're going to do is every time you get a receipt or make a purchase, you will just simply keep that receipt. If you make a purchase and that you don't get a receipt from it, making sure that you write it down on a slip of paper and you store it somewhere to whenever you go back to fill in this chart, you can easily add up your totals. This is just simple stuff, like you're being really accountable for every single dollar you spend, including like a vending machine purchase, making sure that you write that down and keep track of it that way. Whenever you will use this actual tool to analyze your spending, it's really recommended to analyze your spending kind of on a weekly basis. So you'll kind of notice the trends, and you'll kind of notice like what you spend more money on and what you spend less money on. Up here is kind of a general definition for what goes into what category and how you can kind of make sure you're placing things in the right category and not getting things kind of 1 week going in one category and next week going to a different category, so you get a really solid view of what you're doing. So if you look over here, just on the left-hand side is the days. At the top is the actual categories themselves. You will, on a daily basis, kind of write down the totals from each category. And then obviously over here, we'll get a grand total for the day of how much you spent, and then a grand total of all the categories. So So once you've actually done this for each week, you can kind of go back and look in and see if you notice trends, when things are increasing, when they're decreasing, and you can, I recommend that you go back and you look for the trends and you circle them. For example, like if your rent and your cell phone payment, they're obviously going to be like your needs and obligations, and they'll kind of make creating your budget a little easier in the future. So, so you'll use the following tool to kind of eliminate that, so the different categories. So once you get the spending tracker done and completed, you can kind of use this to analyze your weekly or monthly spending habits. So the first category is just simply spending that cannot be cut. These are, like I said, like bills or obligations that you can't change, cell phone bill, and then the reasoning why. The second category is spending that can be eliminated. One of the spending items that can be eliminated most often, I see with some clients, is smoking cessation. So if a lot of times they will stop smoking purely because it's too expensive, they can't afford it anymore. And so if that's the case, it's really important to have steps to eliminate this spending area. There's also a lot of different things that you can probably cut out altogether. Those savings can then kind of be put forth for emergencies or paying down debts or goals. And lastly, there's the category of spending that can be reduced. So maybe there's just different areas that you can cut back on. A simple one would be eating out. Maybe you eat out 4 times a week, or go grab fast food a handful of times, and packing a lunch is going to be a little simpler. So if you can identify areas that you can reduce or cut back on, then you can actually set up a new spending target, a realistic spending target that's achievable to you. And then go ahead and include them in your cash flow. So again, this is just a really important way to get a foundation for knowing what you are doing and how you're using your money. And that way you can kind of move forward with making sure how you're using your money is in line with your financial goals. And this is just a really great and easy way. So don't throw your receipts on the floor. Go ahead and of your car, go ahead and put them in an envelope and save them for later. And good luck. I hope this helps you guys. And I know it's definitely going to help me. So see you soon. Bye.